Hello, welcome to those who are joining us later, watching this online, and to those in the room, welcome also. Here we are. We are here on a Thursday night for ACR, that's actually acronym for Anglican Church Robina, Youth and Young Adults. And so welcome. We are going to jump straight into our three things for the night. And the first of our three things is this. What is this, you may ask? Well, this week there has actually been there's been a bit of a news around some research being done into COVID testing that can be done by breathalyzer. So there's been a bit of a breakthrough. Now, it's not the type of breakthrough that people are wanting in regards to COVID, but it is a breakthrough in regards to testing. I don't know if anyone else has had the things shoved up their noses, but they're not painful. They're a lot painful. They're not very comfortable. And I know that somebody who's sitting here in the room who's going to come join me for the rest of three things has had that done to her. Welcome, Kiani. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How was it? How was getting things shoved up your nose being tested?
It was awful.
It was terrible, yes. Unpleasant.
When she put it, I think it was down my throat, I was just staring at her and just tears streamed down my face. And she was like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "I can't stop it."
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I had it done and the kids had it done with us as well, Jelaine and I, and we all had to get it done at the same time. It was very unpleasant. I felt like they touched my brain and tickled it. My nose was sore for like hours. But I can actually say, and I've been multiple tested now. I've had to multiple tests because you get sick children, you just have to get tested more often. And there's been better ones than others. But it would be much easier if you just had to breathe into something and then they could tell, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, much better. Is there any other tests out there that you would like to turn into breath tests? I'm trying to think of. Can you think of any?
I don't know if this is possible, but blood tests.
Yes. Yeah, no more pricks.
I don't know how that would work.
Yeah. There's actually, this is another interesting invention that has come up recently. There's new little patches that can sit on your arm that can be scanned with a phone to check your blood sugar level. So it's apparently within the last couple of months they're introducing new technology. So basically you don't have to do a blood pinprick anymore if you're diabetic or whatever. So you can get these little patches and you just put your phone over the top of it and tell you what it is. So it's handy. And so science. Wonders. The second of our three things is lightning storms. What's happening with lightning storms or thunderstorms?
Yeah, so some of you may have heard, it's on the news quite a fair bit, but we are predicting a lot of storms in the next, I think it's 4 days.
On the coast?
Yeah, the whole east coast is apparently going to be hit with heaps of storms.
Woohoo.
Hail, flash flooding.
Run outside in the storm. Yeah. Anyone like that? Yeah. In the room, yes. Yeah, I think actually I used to love doing that. This is actually telling a really bad story on camera, but I used to love it when there was a little bit of flash flooding where I grew up because people would always jump into the ditches with bodyboards and stuff. It was actually really cool. As long as nobody gets hurt, which I've heard can happen in those situations. Never happened to me. Don't try this at home, kids. So storms, lots of storms coming our way. Do you like the thunder and the lightning?
I do.
You do?
I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
But
Cool.
I don't like the flash flooding.
No.
Yeah.
I like watching the storm. I don't like being in the storm so much anymore.
Yeah,
It's kind of nice to see the party light show in the sky, but as long as it's not too close.
Yeah, as long as it's not hail.
That's right. That's right. Oh, cars getting hail. And this is the last of our three things tonight. This dude here, was a professional pianist. But he had an accident that made his hands not able to play anymore. So basically ruined. Because those hands that you see there, those are bionic gloves. This is like Bionic Man himself. And so he can now play again. Wow. So this was nice news that made the news this week. I think his name is something like Carlos, which, he looks like a Carlos. So he thought he would never be able to play piano again, but he can thanks to bionic gloves that help him to be able to move his fingers in the right way.
That's really cool.
I know, pretty funky. If you could choose any bionic implement to have yourself, what would you choose to improve some sort of function?
Well, as someone who doesn't have good eyesight,
Hey, bionic eyes.
would be great.
Zoom.
You know
Yeah.
how they have the whole contact thing where it zooms in for you?
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Way too blind.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Yeah. I reckon it'd be really cool just to have like bionic arms, because it'd be like, oh, I just want to move that thing. Yeah, it'd be really handy.
Breaks down, you just-
That's right. I'm just pushing the car off the side of the road. It's fine. I just. Yeah. Sorry. What was that?
Bionic back.
Bionic back. Yeah, that'd be helpful. Yes, would be helpful. Then you never have bad backs. So those are our 3 things for tonight. Thank you, Kiani. Thank you for joining us. And tonight we are not continuing our Alpha series that we have been doing. We have finished Alpha, which is kind of good. It's kind of a little bit sad. We say goodbye to Alpha. But so this is kind of a bit of a transition week for us. So what we're going to do this week is we're going to look at a video about what it means to be tested, on how God tests us. Because there's quite a lot of this in Scripture, and it is often misunderstood. It's a bit of a hard topic. Why would God test me? Doesn't that seem a bit weird and a bit hard? Why would God do that to me? So we're going to talk a little bit about that in the room. We're also going to watch a video. So you guys on the stream, you'll see a video come up now from the Bible Project, which is about testing.
The story of the Bible begins with God creating a beautiful world and then sharing it with all of his creatures.
And he appoints Adam and Eve to rule it on his behalf.
And God gives them access to his wisdom and life, but then tells them that there's one tree they can't eat from because it will lead to death.
So they have a choice about how to rule with God. This kind of feels like a test.
Well, that's because it is a test.
But isn't that kind of cruel for God to test them?
Well, not all tests are bad. Let's say there's a king who chooses you to fulfill a royal task because he wants to know if you are trustworthy.
Well, I guess that's a test, but really it's an opportunity to do something important and noble.
Right, but then let's say there's a rebel who hates the king and you. And he tries to convince you that you would be better off not doing what the king asks.
Well, the rebel is setting a trap.
Right, so a test could be an opportunity or a trap. And the difference is whether the one testing you has your best interests in mind.
I see. And both types of tests appear in the beginning of the Bible. God tells them to eat of the tree of life and not the forbidden tree.
Yeah, this is God's test of loyalty. God wants to rule the world with humans as his partners, which means they will need to trust his wisdom over their own.
But then a rebel comes and tests them to eat of that other tree.
Right, the rebel seizes this opportunity and twists it, so he can lead the humans into exile and ultimately death.
He turns the test into a trap.
But after the humans fail, God promises that one day a human will come who will pass the test and defeat the snake. And as the story moves on, God gives a couple named Abraham and Sarah an opportunity to trust him by leaving their family behind, to go to a new land where God will use them to restore his blessing to all people.
So this is a test.
And at first, things go well. But Abraham quickly fails. He lies to protect himself, and then he and Sarah scheme to get a son their own way by abusing one of their servants.
Definitely not passing the test.
But God doesn't give up on Abraham. He gives him one final opportunity, a test to prove his loyalty. God asks Abraham to go up onto a hill and offer his son as a sacrifice.
I can't imagine a more intense test.
And Abraham does it. But in the last moment, God stops him and provides a substitute animal in the place of his son. God then says he will fulfill his promise through Abraham's family because he passed this test.
So Abraham passed this test, but he hasn't proven to be a fully trustworthy partner. We're still waiting for someone who can pass the ultimate test.
Yeah, and as the family of Abraham grows and becomes a nation, God continues to test them.
Like when the Israelites wander in the wilderness for 40 years.
They have lots of opportunities to trust in God, to provide water or daily bread.
But they instead blame God and even say that he trapped them in the desert to kill them.
And so the rest of Israel's story in the Hebrew scriptures is pretty much the same. The Israelites don't trust in God and his promise. They're not loyal, and eventually the whole nation fails.
So humans have an amazing opportunity to partner with God, but no one is really qualified.
And so all of this brings us forward to Jesus. There's a story where Jesus goes into the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights without food or water.
Ah, yes, the wilderness. And there, he meets a sinister creature who tries to trap him.
But Jesus trusts in God's wisdom.
And he passes the test.
Then later there's a story about Jesus going to pray with some friends, and God commissions him to go up to Jerusalem and to give up his life.
And so he goes. And on the night of his arrest, Jesus took his friends and went to a garden.
And he told them to pray because tonight, he said, is the great test.
And he prayed to God, please let this test pass from me, but not my desire, rather may your desire be done.
In this garden, Jesus shows us what passing the test looks like. He trusted in God's wisdom, he loved others more than himself, and he confronted evil with good.
Even though it cost him his life.
Right. Jesus offered his own life as a sacrifice to cover for all of the failed tests of his people Israel and of all humanity. Jesus passed the ultimate test on behalf of us all.
This is amazing, but that doesn't mean everything is gonna be great in our lives. I mean, let's be honest, we're gonna face our own tests every day.
Right. Jesus said every generation of his followers would have their own tests that will force them to trust God in radical new ways.
And these tests can be difficult and often painful.
But remember, a test from a good God is an opportunity. This is why James, a leader in the early Jesus movement, said that we should be grateful when we face tests and trials because they offer us a gift. It's an opportunity to surrender to God's wisdom and to become more like Jesus, the one who loved us and who passed the test on our behalf.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us tonight just for the short little video that it was. I hope that it was as meaningful to you. Us here in the room, we talked quite a bit about what it means to be tested by God and how that can be very challenging, and how often that's in all sorts of different ways. We can be tested in our emotions, in our relationships, in our finances. We can be tested in regards to sin. We can be tested just in regards to our faith in general. And there's so many ways we can be tested. And we can struggle with our response to that and seeing whether it is God at work in that or whether or not it's just ourselves sometimes at work in that. So I hope that it has been a good thing for you tonight to wrestle with that. If you've got any questions, please reach out. We'd love to talk with you. You're also welcome to come and join us in the room if you like, if you're a youth or young adult, at any time. And we will continue to meet on a Thursday night. Next week, we will be starting either something similar to this tonight, or we will be doing a whole new series. We're still kind of figuring out the details, but hope to see you next time. God bless.